Right here, right now.
And welcome to Hannity. The consensus is in. Governor Mitt Romney was the decisive winner in last night's presidential debate. Now, in a moment, I will be joined for an exclusive interview by both Governor Romney and his running mate, Congressman Paul Ryan. But first, although even the most left-wing political observers and pundits have conceded that their candidate bombed without his teleprompter last night, Obama aides are trying to peg all of their candidates stumbling and bumbling on Mitt Romney. Believe it or not, yes, they are accusing the governor of lying. Of course, they are the ones that are. Watch this.
Again and again and again, he told a story to the American people that's completely in contrast with what he said before and unfounded in fact. And that's going to catch up with him. I think that I give him credit for a strong performance. I give him an F for being honest with the American people.
All right, here's the sad truth. For 90 minutes, it was President Obama who lied about his record. It was President Obama who lied about what he would do with the second term. You want proof? Here it is.
If you want to be president, you owe the American people the truth. The truth.
Now with a fact check of the debate.
This claim is based on a fiscal fiction.
The bipartisan nonprofit committee for a responsible federal budget has called that a gimmick. And the president is also counting on savings agreed to last year when the White House and Congress agreed to raise the debt ceiling.
Governor Romney's central economic plan calls for a $5 trillion tax cut.
I rate that mostly fiction.
Tonight, President Obama said that his plan would cut the deficit by $4 trillion. That estimate comes from the left-leaning Center on Budget and Policy Priorities.
Social Security is structurally sound. It's going to have to be tweaked.
But according to the Congressional Budget Office, Social Security will run into financial trouble by the year 2030. The amount Social Security pays out will exceed the tax revenue coming in.
President Obama accused Mitt Romney of proposing a $5 trillion tax cut and thus adding to the deficit. But the nonpartisan website factcheck.org says that is not true. Another questionable statement, Obama again said he'd raise taxes on upper-income people only to the rates they were when Bill Clinton was president. But actually, many high-income people would pay more than they did then.
The president falsely claimed fiscal fiction.
That is not true. Mostly fiction.
Another questionable
If you want to
statement.
be president, you owe the American people the truth.
And joining me now for an exclusive interview, the very first since last night's showdown, are Republican presidential candidate Governor Mitt Romney and his running mate, Congressman Paul Ryan. By the way, Congressman Ryan, I know you have to leave in a couple of minutes, so you won't be here the entire time. All right, Governor, you went into last night's debate. There were a couple of polls out. They said that Barack Obama was a 2-to-1 favorite. Clearly a good night for you. What's your take?
Well, I was pleased that I had the chance to talk about my vision for America. The president was able to answer some questions that I posed that I think Americans across the country have wanted to have answered. And it was an evening of substance. I'm happy that Jim Lehrer was willing to ask us our positions on issues, and we could describe those. It was not a big gotcha night coming from the moderator, but instead a chance for the president and I to go toe-to-toe on important issues people care about. So I thought it was a helpful night. I think in the final analysis, people will decide what kind of America they want.
Congressman Ryan, you're up next. There have been a lot of controversial statements. I'll show the tape in a little bit, but to save a little bit of time, in recent weeks, Joe Biden has said that the middle class the last 4 years has been buried, and today he went out there and said he's going to raise taxes. Yes, we plan to raise taxes over $1 trillion. Your reaction?
Well, he was half right. It's about $2 trillion. But, you know, every now and then Joe is a little candid. He drops the veil and he speaks with candor. And, yeah, the middle class has been buried over the last 4 years. He was right when he said that. Yes, they're proposing a massive tax increase. And 2 years ago, when they said they were going to prevent this tax increase because we had a bad economy, the economy is growing slower today than it was then when they said that. So they don't have a record to run on. This is why they're running the kind of campaign they're running. What I'm excited, Sean, is last night the American people got to see the guy I know. A decisive, optimistic, confident leader. A person with a plan to create jobs, grow the economy. That's what the country saw. So they now know they have a very clear choice. Growth, opportunity, or stagnation and dependency. The president is basically saying 4 more years of the same, and Mitt gave them a better choice.
Congressman, but because I know you have to go, and you're going to be introducing Governor Romney at an event soon, I'll ask you one last question if I can, because you're best known as being a numbers guy. Governor Romney your running mate, he's running for president, last night pointed out the state of our economy. 1 in 6 Americans are in poverty, 25 million underemployed, 17 million more Americans in the last 4 years on food stamps. That's 49 million Americans. Governor, I didn't know the statistic you brought up last night, but apparently 50% of college students are having a hard time getting that first job, and we've got $6 trillion in new Obama debt in 4 years. You told me once, Congressman, that we've got maybe 2 or 3 years before an economic calamity. Explain what you mean.
Yeah, that's what the experts have been coming to the Budget Committee for years saying, which is if we keep staying on this path, we will have a debt crisis much like what is engulfing Europe. We've got to get off this path. Mitt Romney's proposed a plan to get us off this path. President Obama is doubling down in the same direction. So that's the point we're making, Sean. You can't keep spending money we don't have. We will have a debt crisis much like that in Europe. And they say we don't have that much time. So we have a window of opportunity. The next president will decide how this is determined. This man has put a plan out there to prevent that from happening so we get this economy growing, we prevent a debt crisis, and we save those people who depend on these programs so much that they've been promised for them. That's what we're going to do, and the country last night saw the choice that they get to make.
All right, one last question while the two of you together. Governor Romney, you brought up last night the $716 billion that was taken out of Medicare to help fund Obamacare. When you were on 60 Minutes, you pointed out that you had a slight disagreement. Do you guys want to debate that while I have the opportunity of the two of you together?
Well, probably not. My guess is we'll be debating with the other guys. Yeah. The one thing we both agree on, and that is that the president's plan to use $716 billion to fund Obamacare is a mistake. And we're running on the same platform. We're putting that money back into Medicare, taking care of our seniors.
And we're also against this Obamacare board that will cut programs for the seniors. They'll actually put price controls that leads to denied care for current seniors. That was a fantastic moment of the debate last night. Seniors see a very clear choice. We're going to protect this program. The president's rating the program, and it'll lead to rationing of the program.
Doesn't it say in the bill, correct me if I'm about 4,000 times that the board ultimately decides, or some number thereabout? Am I wrong, Congressman?
They have lots of commissions and different boards that they cite. This one is the one that's in charge of Medicare.
All right. Congressman, we're going to let you go. Thank you for being with us. Governor Romney stays with us.
Thanks, Sean. We got 12,000 people out here excited to see us.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep 12,000 people. We only have 4 million people here that want to see you, but so we're competing.